Unscripted.
Happy Christmas Eve. That's right, one and all. Hopefully you all are doing fine. Listen, if you guys are just getting a Xbox or PlayStation for this Christmas, that's awesome. It's Christmas Eve right now. Santa is making his rounds. It's all very, very fun, and it's all very, very interesting and cool to see the excitement of people. I just love seeing people get so excited and the way they kind of treat others. A lot of people really kind of bring out the best of each other when it comes to the holidays, and that's what makes me so happy. I'm like the type of person who's really a giver when it comes to holidays, so I like to see how people react to getting stuff that maybe they couldn't get themselves or something like that, or just like kind of really surprise people going all out. I love to do that. And so as a gamer, it's always interesting when the holidays come up, because I'm always the type of person that gives out like video games, right? So a good funny story is that when I was just my whole life, like a lot of Hellhammer is my little brother. We've done he does podcasts with me sometimes. We used to anyway. Well, I'm like 10 years older than him. So growing up, I was always, older than him, and I always looked out for him. So almost every holiday, I'd get him some kind of game system. I bought him a Sega Dreamcast back in the day. I think that was the first console I ever bought for him. I bought him a Sega Game Gear. I bought him a... let me think. What did I get? I bought him a PSP, a PS2, an original Xbox. I bought him an Xbox 360. I bought him a PS3. And you're talking when the things were expensive. I bought him and me a PS3 at the same time. Again, I think that was 2006. So, he was still pretty young back then. So, just all very, he was a teenager, so that should go to tell you. So I always looked out for him, and then not just that, but like I bought him a 3DS. I bought my mom a 3DS. I bought, I buy video games because that's what I know. So I usually kind of use that as a sort of go-to when I buy people stuff. So it's always nice to sort of, when you're into video games, give and get video games and stuff like that. And I love it. I'm excited by it. And Sony's Jim Ryan gave an interview and was talking about the PlayStation 5, and I found this to be incredibly interesting. And I wanted to kind of share what he was talking about, just to kind of get this out there, because I think this is very important stuff. And just at the end of the day, I feel like people might be looking for news or whatever. I will be dropping videos on Christmas as well, but don't worry, it's not like I'm doing them actually on video. I did them ahead of time just so everybody can have a happy Christmas and just spend time with your family and stuff like that. But let's get started. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel. That means a lot to me personally. If you're looking for a way to help out a small little crummy channel like mine, the best way to do it, a simple like. It really does go a long way, and it means a lot to me personally. Shout out to all the old subscribers, new subscribers, and everybody in between. You are fantastic people, and I mean that. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you guys so much for continuing to rock out with me. Yes, it's crucial and just really does mean a lot. So thank you guys so much. First of all, I wanted to get into this because Jim Ryan was talking about video games, and he was talking about what they have in store for next year. And one of the things was that I thought that they did a good job of kind of launching what they were able to do in the first place. And I think that and I think that basically what they're going to be doing going forward is nothing short of a miracle, considering all the lockdowns and the re-lockdowns, and and I think that that's something that a lot of people are going to be having to kind of take into considerations when they think about which console they're going to buy. It's like, the interesting thing is, if you guys didn't know, I have two brothers. I have an older brother who is a couple years older than me, and I have a younger brother, Hellhammer, who is like almost 10 years younger than me. So, my older brother is a super more casual gamer. He's married with a kid, and, he was a big Xbox fan, and me and him were just talking yesterday about this, right? He was like, he goes, well, let me ask you something. He goes, should I, get a PS5, or, and I was like, yeah, I was like, absolutely get a PS5 if, that's what I would do. And because I did, obviously, but in his situation, because he's more casual, he really loves PSVR, and his kid loves PSVR, and he likes Spider-Man and all those exclusives. And he's like, yeah, he goes, I was talking to my friend about this, and I was like, what's the point of getting an Xbox? He's like, I spent all this money on Xbox over the years, and they're not putting out anything but indie games and these little games that I don't really care about. There's nothing like anything really tangible there to play. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly been my problem with it. And this is a super casual person. This isn't a person that's on Twitter or social media talking about video games, or on gaming sites talking about video games. This is a very casual person with a family and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, I had Xbox for years and it just collected dust. He's like, I get PlayStation 4. He bought a PlayStation 4 Slim and a PSVR. And next thing you know, he's playing Spider-Man and Iron Man VR and God of War and all these great games. And I'm like, dude, that's welcome to my world. This is what it's all about, But anyway, Jim Ryan was talking about this, and he was talking about the PlayStation 5 and how next year they're going to be doing even more of what they did this year. He's basically, and he says that they have some surprises planned in terms of the first party content that they haven't yet announced, which I thought was pretty cool, because if you look at the things that they do have announced already, it's pretty phenomenal stuff. And to be honest with you, I do hope we get back to I would love to get back to a more formal E3 type of experience next generation, or next year, because I just, for me personally, I just find that to be the much better way to sort of do things, right? Like you have you have these types of situations, you have these types of instances where you just hope that you can get some of this stuff out there, and I just feel like the way that they've gone about it during a pandemic, I think is fine, but I also just feel like at the same time it's a sad situation where we haven't really had to really have that event that gets us excited like we normally would be, and I think we missed E3 a lot more than a lot of us even noticed or realized. So I do hope that we will get that in the future. Next year would be great, because I gotta say, man, I miss seeing the gameplays and stuff like that, and I miss seeing all that stuff kind of together, where you'd have like Nintendo and Microsoft and Sony kind of going back and forth showcasing and stuff like that. But the fact that Sony has such an incredible lineup plan for next year, like tentatively, I know a lot of people will say, oh, it's never going to come out, but let's say it does. I mean, let's say God of War Ragnarok releases, Horizon Forbidden West, you have Kena Bridge of Spirits, you have Gran Turismo 7, you have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, you have the potentiality of timed exclusive like Final Fantasy 16, which is said to be at least a year exclusive to PS5. You also have 2 other year-long exclusives with Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop. You also have, believe it or not, Destruction All-Stars, and we kind of get that game just being part of PlayStation Plus. So they have so many games scheduled. It's really an advantage for them over Microsoft. And I just feel like they've done a really good job at kind of getting out there and getting ahead of what Microsoft is planning on doing, because I think Microsoft has done a lot of good things potentially, right? Like, I don't want to go out too far out on a limb there, but I think they've done some good things in terms of what they offer. I think they're maybe a little bit too caught up in their own hype when it comes to Game Pass, because the other day on Twitter I see they're advertising we put Skyrim Special Edition in Game Pass, and like, that would have been great 5 years ago or whatever, but hell, I beat that game. That was the last Bethesda game I actually beat, and that was back on the Xbox 360, and I did pick up the remastered version or whatever on Xbox One for like $5 during a sale not too years ago. But it's just one of those things where, like, that's not a big deal. Like, why are you guys promoting that as a huge deal? I just don't understand it. You got Sony hyping up these new games and stuff like that are coming next year, and they're saying we're going to have even more stuff coming out next year, and then you have Microsoft, who are just like, hey, we just added this like 10-year-old game that sold already 1 billion copies for some reason. In case you've been living under a rock, you can now pick it up in Game Pass. And I just feel like that's the stark difference between Microsoft and Sony. You kind of have these companies going in different directions, and I just find that to be very interesting. It's sort of like if if Netflix was like, oh hey, we just added this show from 25 years ago, get Netflix today. Like, I don't think many people would be very apt to actually go out there and do that. I think that they would probably be like, what the hell's going on here? So that's sort of my look at that. Like, Game Pass, I think, can be a value, but I think the big value in Game Pass is just one of those situations where it's in the eye of the beholder a lot of time, but it's also a situation where you have to have something that appeals to the mass variety of people. It's like, if you just spent money on this new next gen Xbox and there's literally no next gen games in the Game Pass for that Xbox, I think that's a bit of a problem, and I think that's where Sony really kind of takes advantage and kind of smacks Xbox around. So with that being said, I will link this interview. You guys can let me know what you think. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for rocking out with me. Have a fantastic Christmas. Merry Christmas Eve. Rack 'em up. Game on, my friends. Game on. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.